Today our class focus is going to be with the roller. So all you need is a roller. Mine personally is a melt roller, nice and soft. They did not sponsor me, but I would love it if they did because this is by far my favorite prop. So today we'll start with our roller rested on your mat right around where you can settle into it, where your shoulder blades connect. I'm going just below that shoulder blade line, taking your hands behind your head. Add just a couple chest openers as you release over your roller and engaging through your core to lift right back up into a little bit of a crunch, making sure that you keep the weight of your head in your hands. Let that alignment of ear to shoulder just maintain in this movement. We'll give it one more here. Now we're going to add just a small scoot of the hips to the heels, bringing you up about an inch on your spine. Continuing with your bit of a hinge here. You might get a couple pops out of your upper back here. We're just going to give it two more on this one before we start to add in. Who needs a chiropractor when you have a foam roller? Now we're going to pause the upper body, maintaining a nice connection to core. Use your inhale to prepare. Your exhale lifts one knee into a march, lowering it right back down and switching over to the second side. We'll give these just a couple, warming up that deep low transverse. Now we'll add lowering the upper body, lifting through your head, neck, and shoulders as you march a knee, returning back to that low position and switching over to the other leg. We'll give these one more to each. And then take a moment to settle your feet. Let your upper body release by lifting your hips and rolling up to your upper spine right around that shoulder line and right back down to maybe shoulder blade tip or mid-spine. We'll give it one more pass here. And we're going to continue to mobilize just a little bit deeper, settling again around your shoulder blades, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. Add in a little bit of side bending, finding that elbow to same side hip, really reaching and opening up through your intercostals, getting right in between those shoulder blades. We'll give it one to each. And when you're nice and even, settle through center. Let your knees maintain that bend. Again, lowering through your upper body, resting into gravity. On your lift, march a knee to its tabletop and find a small rotation, taking your opposite elbow toward that thigh, returning back over your roller to switch over to the second side. We'll give these just a couple. Getting nice and even. And then take a moment to stretch your legs out nice and long. Take your arms up overhead, roll over to your toes. Take a moment in a forward fold, stretching out your back. Maybe already noticing a little more mobility along your spine. We're going to transition our roller to our feet. So we'll start again with bent knees, resting the upper body, taking your feet on top of your roller, settling into your arch. Now you could use a ball between inner thigh for support on your hamstrings. I'm going to today just squeeze my knees and feet together, starting with just a slight tuck to the tail and a little release. We'll give this just about 3 as we come in and out of that tuck. And then we're going to continue with a little pressure down through the heel of the hand, down into the roller to lift the hips into a full bridge and roll right back down. Now just having that roller under your feet makes this a little harder. It's an unstable surface. Your brain doesn't really trust it as much as it would your floor mat. So at any point, if this is too challenging, your feet just come right back down to the floor and you continue moving through your spine. If you need a little bit more, we're going to pause at the top. Letting your hips stay lifted, your heart melts down ever so slightly, pubic bone pulls to the sky, engaging your glutes. We're going to just take a moment to roll the roller in an inch or so and right back out. You can do this a couple times. Your hammies will definitely start to feel it. And then settle your roller where it feels supportive. Roll right back down through your spine and let your knees rock in a side to side. Continuing to loosen up along your back. Take a moment to just stretch your legs out long on your roller. You can let them hang out around your calf line wherever you feel you need this. Usually a little bit more to that back of the knees where that muscle connects. It gets a little bit more tender as you go. And then our last placement here, wherever you need it, you can hang out in these for as long as you desire, depending on how tight your calves are. Now we're gonna add a deeper bend to the knees, pulling the roller underneath the tailbone, lifting the hips again. Settle to a point where you have nice pelvic stability and support on your roller, and just allow those knees to rock in their side to side here. We'll give them just a couple. And then we're going to engage through the low belly, stacking those knees back into their tabletop, finding a little bit of flexion through the feet. You could even hold your roller if you need to. We're going to tap one heel to the range that feels good. It might find the floor, it might not, and switch over to the second side. We'll just do a couple to each here, finding a final one to each side. Activating that deep low transverse, and then resting the feet down to your table. Take a moment to open your knees into a butterfly stretch. You could add a little bit of rocking side to side here as well. We're going to progress it just a little bit, engaging again through abs to stack those knees in tabletop. Find one leg stretched out long for single leg stretch, pulling it in and switching over to the other. We'll give them just a few here. I'm going for 3 to each side on these. Your final one to each. And here, a slightly deeper stretch on the back. We're gonna hug the knees in, letting gravity assist in a release. As long as your back doesn't mind this, you could add a little bit of rocking side to side here as well. If there's ever a preferred stretch, you can go back into it. We'll send the legs to the sky for our last one, finding a point to the toes and then a flex to your foot. Give it just a couple on that range of motion. And the next time the toes are pointed, pause them there, letting one leg lengthen down as far as feels good to open up through that front chain, lifting right back to the sky and switching over. Now, if the hamstrings feel like they need just a bit more stretch, you could add the hands behind a leg to really give it a tug and enhance that stretch you feel. We'll give them just one more to each here. Now we're going to rest the feet, let a single leg slide out nice and long, opening that hip flexor. For just a small enhancement, you could add your bent knee rested open to the side to get a little bit of that inner thigh stretch and release on that hip flexor. Or for even more, you could pull that knee into your chest, letting the other side reach long, adding a gentle flex to the foot, rolling a marble away from you with that heel. Take a breath there, relax your shoulders, and at your pace you get to switch. Taking one leg out, bending the other knee in, maybe adding just a little bit of an enhancement at first, and then taking it to that degree that feels best in your body when and if you need it. Taking that knee in and letting that long stretched out leg flex at the foot to roll that marble away from you. Now we'll let both feet find the table. Lift your hips up, press your roller to your heels, roll back down. Just take a moment to notice back of your hips, back of your ribs, back of your head. Hopefully the back of your hips feel a little more flat now that you're here than when we started. Take that side to side. Bringing the roller in hand again, we're going to stretch the legs out long. Take your arms up overhead. Nice big inhale to prepare. Exhale peels you up, bone by bone, to roll forward, releasing to your toes. And today we're going to focus on our shoulders just a little bit more. So we're going to place our roller nice and centered wherever your space is, starting with your tailbone on one end, rolling down to bring your head rested onto the other. Find where you have both tailbone and head nice and safe, protected there. Might not want to roll over your hair. We're just gonna add a little bit of side to side, getting right in between the spine and the scapula. Your head can just go along for the ride on your roller to not strain your neck. And then settling into a center, see if it's okay here to float your arms to the sky. Your feet are your base, so they go as wide as you need. We'll let one arm lower, one arm lift up by the ear, resting each hand heavy into gravity and then switching. Finding the mobility at your shoulder, easing in and out through that opposition. We'll give it one to each here. Ending on the side that you didn't start on. See if you can rest one arm down, keeping it there to help stabilize as the other rests as heavy into gravity as you need, and adding small side to side rocking motions here to release out some of that tight, tense muscle that loves to exist and hang out between those shoulder blades. If you feel like you need a little more manipulation, that arm can lower down by your side and sweep right back up, very similar to a snow angel. We'll give it just one more pass here on this side, melting some of that tension away. And then letting that arm return to your side to switch over to the other, taking it up and over, let it rest heavy, and start to add in your little bits of rocking side to side. Maybe adding in those snow angel sweeps on the muscle. You can take it to the degree that feels good. We'll give it one more. We'll let both hands return to the sides. Use both arms, maybe even your elbows and forearms as well, to help stabilize your sides. See if you could bring a single knee into a tabletop. Maybe the second side can join. Now pausing here for a moment of balance, can you take one knee a little out to the side, bring it right back in, and switch over to the other. These are all about balance, so being on the floor means the stakes are a little lower. If you roll off your roller, you can just roll right back onto it. We'll do one more to each side. And then a moment to rest your feet. Let them maintain their nice wide base to center you. Float your hands behind your head, utilizing that support for your head, neck, and shoulders. We're going to start to mobilize the upper back a little bit deeper by rolling up into a small crunch and rolling right back down onto that roller. Give it just a couple here. Your range isn't going to feel huge, but hopefully between the balance and that crunch, your abs are going to kick in just enough. Now we're going to put them together just a little bit. So bring a single arm back down by your side. Keep one hand behind your head. Float the opposite knee to its lift. Find your sense of support and stability between your single foot and that opposite arm, keeping you stable. As you crunch up, you're going to add slight rotation and roll right back down. We'll just give this one two more on this side. And a final one here. And a moment to switch, resetting the feet, bringing the arms down, maybe add that little bit of a log roll. And set yourself up for side two, bringing the opposite hand behind the head, finding your support system, one knee into its tabletop, rotating in your crunch up to that side, and rolling right back down. We'll give it one more here. Letting your foot return to the support of that floor, your arms to the sky one final time. We're going to start with an open out nice and wide, letting them rest into gravity. Take your elbows into a bend to find a cactus. Let your fingertips reach to each other and your elbows pull back down into your sides. Give this just two more as we warm them up here. And then let your hands release down, backs of the hands pull together, thumbs down by your pubic bone. A big inhale to send those arms up and over, A big exhale to pull your elbows back down by your side, slow and steady. We're gonna give this one 2 more here. Inhaling up and over, exhaling through that goalpost. Final time. As your elbows melt back down by your sides, you can rest your hands to that side of your roller one more time. Give it a final side-to-side log roll here. And pick and choose which side you prefer, rolling a little too far to one to just push that roller out from under you. Rest in that position for a moment. Take note of the back of the hips, the back of the shoulders, the back of the head. You should feel much more melted into your floor mat here. Let your legs stretch out long one final time. We're gonna send the arms to the sky. We're gonna roll right back up. A nice big stretch to the toes. And you are all done for today.